Hello folks, it's Connie Brower here from Falmouth, Nova Scotia. Today is December 6th, 2013, and we have received news that Nelson Mandela passed away. As you probably know, Nelson Mandela is a civil rights activist in South Africa, and he managed to come to power in South Africa after apartheid. He was in power for quite a bit of time and suffered a long battle with his illness before he died. Now let's focus on Canada here. All the politicians in Canada are sorry that Nelson Mandela has passed away. Let me just give you some highlights here from what the Harper government has said. Harper called Mandela the most powerful symbol in the world for the struggle and success against racial discrimination. Despite his long years of captivity, Mr. Mandela left prison with a heart closed to calls for a settling of scores. Instead, he was filled by a longing for truth and reconciliation and for an understanding between all people, Harper said. He demonstrated that the only path forward for the nation was to reject the appeal of bitterness. His forbearance was legendary. His magnanimity spared all South Africans incalculable suffering. Harper's going to travel to South Africa, for Mandela's funeral. It says, Canadian politicians worked for Mandela. Liberal MP Irwin Cotler, who, by the way, was the Minister of Justice in Canada for quite some time, worked on the international legal team that supported Mandela while he was in prison for 27 years. Nelson Mandela was is a quote, Mandela was an inspiration not only for South Africa, but a global inspiration, and particularly for the young, who saw in him a hope for a better world, Kotler said. Well, folks, this is Canada 2013, and we do not have civil rights in Canada. I really get angry with people in Canada going overseas, fighting overseas battles, and they do not fight for the civil rights of Canadians. We live in a country where you are not allowed to be a parent, where a judge decides who can be a parent with a stroke of a pen and who cannot, and then make that person who is not a parent spend the rest of his life fighting for parenthood. Canada has a 98% sole custody rate of mothers. 98% of sole custodies are mothers. And that means 98% of fathers are not custodial parents, not even equal shared parents. They are non-custodial parents, and non-custodial means that you have no legal rights to your children. This is what is happening in every court in Canada. We are civil rights activists, and this is what they do in the courts. We hear from people all the time. We are monitoring what is happening around the world when it comes to family law. And it's dismal, folks. It's dismal. This is slavery. And Canada is supposed to have, quote, charter rights. That is a lie. We do not have charter rights. As I'm speaking to you right now, my charter rights are being violated by the courts. I do not have the right to speak out about certain abuses. And this is crazy. We have the Charter Rights Section 2 that I'm allowed to speak to the media about whatever I want. And yet a court is telling me that I cannot speak out about my charter rights violations. This is insane, folks. So here we are. We just lost Martin Luther King a little while ago. Now we've lost Nelson Mandela. These are recognized civil rights people across the world, around the world. And here's Canada paying tribute, but doing nothing, absolutely nothing for the people in Canada who have been violated. And our family is the first family that has been violated, not the first, but we have been violated for a long, long time. 20 years to be exact. And in Canada right now, you cannot have your charter rights upheld in the courts because the courts won't even hear it. We're supposed to have a guaranteed charter rights right here. This is on my desk at all times. Your guide to the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. It is so dog-eared because I refer to it all the time. And it says right here in section 2. Just give me a minute here. Everyone has the freedom of thought, belief, opinion, expression, including freedom of the press and other media of communication. No, we do not. It says here in section 15, which is equality rights. Every individual is equal before and under the law and has a right to the equal protection and equal benefit of the law without discrimination, and in particular without discrimination based on race, national or ethnic origin, color, religion, sex, age, or mental or physical disability. Wrong. Doesn't happen here. You get discriminated in the family courts all the time. If you're a non-custodial parent, you are discriminated. You don't have any legal rights to your children. You are forced to do what a judge tells you to do. The judges come into your home, pick through your income, distribute your assets, and take away your children at will. That's called divorce. It is the most inhumane institution in Canada, the judicial system. Inhumane, corrupt, barbaric, discriminatory. That's the politest way that I can describe this inhumane institution. It should be scrapped. It should be totally dismantled and reconfigured in a more humane way. We have our humanity laws right here. We have our protection right here. Right here. But the judges aren't listening. They're the ones that are supposed to uphold this. We also have Charter Rights, Section 28 of the Charter. Notwithstanding anything in the Charter, the rights and freedoms referred to in it are guaranteed equally to male and female persons. So folks, there should be no such thing as sole custody orders. There should be no such thing as children living with one parent and not the other parent. There should be no such thing as judges making decisions about your family. People are smart enough to make their own decisions. And that should be done. Divorces should be an amiable separation and sharing of matrimonial assets. Not one person gets it all and the other person gets nothing. So here we are in 2013. Nelson Mandela died. Leaders around the country are paying their respects. But who pays their respects to Canadians? Nobody. Nobody. And that is something I am fighting for. I ask you all to join us in this fight. This has to become public. This has to be a revolution to stop this. Join us now. Go to occupythecourts.ca, occupythecourts.ca, and I will put a link to it in this video. Thank you.